had a very negative association to marijuana. Welcome to the Trans Boss podcast, home of the Trans Boss movement, the place where empowered trans people come to discover what it takes to become the best versions of themselves. I am your host, Jasmine Vine, a Transfem trans empowerment specialist and the CEO of Divine, and I'm here to guide you on this empowering journey. In each episode, we'll dive deep into topics that matter to us trans people, like navigating through societal challenges, as well as building resilience and embracing an empowering mindset. We'll explore it all. We'll also bring on some incredible guests who are making a positive impact in the trans community. The Trans Boss podcast is your go-to resource for empowerment, hope, wisdom, and epic stories from empowered trans bosses across the globe. It's time to kick life's ass and create an empowered, authentic you. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Trans Boss podcast. So in today's episode, we're going to have a chat about my journey to podcasting, overcoming perfectionism, procrastination, fear of letting people down. And really, it's all about embracing progress over perfection. Something that's really been holding me back from doing this episode is, there's a few things. And procrastination, very freaking timely that we're talking about that, because I've been procrastinating for literally years putting this out here, and actually recording this episode right now, I have been procrastinating for hours. I've been playing around with my voice and trying to learn different techniques to help my FemVoice clients, and it's like, I need to actually just sit down, hit record and go. So that's what I'm doing right now. So we'll see how it goes. But essentially, back in 2012, I started doing YouTube, and I was, really enjoying being on the platform. I was getting a lot of positive feedback from it. I was actually feeling like I was able to contribute in some way to the community. And these were all things that really helped me, mental health wise, because I remember, being in a psych appointment. And I remember sitting there just crying my freaking eyes out because I didn't want to be around, but I was getting all of this positive feedback from YouTube. So I had people reaching out to me saying, Jasmine, you helped me to come out. You helped me to, accept myself and to realize that I'm trans, or, all of that type of stuff. And that was something that really, really helped me in those times when I just really, struggling with depression and, suicidality and all of that kind of stuff. Those things really helped me hold on, and I really enjoyed the process. I dived, way into the editing side of things and recording techniques and, messing around with DSLR cameras, all of that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it, but I never was able to keep it consistent. I would stop and start all the freaking time, and it would be a situation of, I'm coming back to YouTube. It's a thing, I'm doing it. And then maybe I'd post a few videos and then I'd stop again. And then I'd do it again and then stop. And then again and then stop. And it was this pattern where I really felt like, I was letting people down. And one of the biggest examples of that, I suppose, was a community channel called Perfect Androgyny. So it was a channel where a bunch of people that identified somewhere along the androgynous spectrum, which I did, would get together, and there would be a Monday person, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I was there Friday, and I posted maybe 3 videos in that channel, and then again I pulled out. And this one was particularly painful for me because I was pulling out, not just letting myself down and letting my viewers down, but also letting the Perfect Androgyny viewers down, letting Joseph Harwood down, letting Steph Sanyetti down. It felt a lot more impactful And I was really, it was one of those times where I was like, forget it. I'm not going to even try to do this. I'm so sick of it. And I've really attached a negative association to doing it. And this is something to really be aware of when it comes to when you're trying to get something done in your life, or you're trying to stay consistent with a certain project. What is the association that you have with it? And it's an unconscious association. It might be something that we're kind of aware of, but also kind of not. And an example of this was quite recently. I had a very negative association to marijuana. So I had a trip to Canada, and unlike Australia, in Canada, it's legal over there. And so one of the things that I wanted to try was just having it legally and experiencing what that was like. It was a difficult decision actually to even decide to do that, because the last time I had it was many, many years ago. And it was at a time where I was really struggling with my mental health. I was in a pretty bad spot. And it just clicked to me, like I had it, right? I gave it a try. And then I realized that I didn't like it. I did, but I didn't. It was a 50-50. Part of me was like, yeah, this is cool. And then another part was like, no, I feel really uncomfortable. I really don't like that. I asked myself, where have I felt this feeling before? And it actually led back to a specific image in my mind. And we all have, unconscious images, associations with certain things. And this image was me sitting on a couch in my ex's house. And, it's a time where I was smoking like 20 bongs a day. I was quite heavily into that. I was doing nothing with my life. I had no purpose, no ambition, no direction in my life. And the image is quite a sad one. And it's associated with like being in the psych ward, and all of this other stuff comes up with it. And I realized that the reason I had this really negative feeling towards it after trying it was because of this association. Because as soon as I thought of it, this image of me being sad and not having any direction, not having any purpose, and being depressed and suicidal, like that's what was like, whoa, in my mind. And so, of course, it's not going to feel nice. And so what I did was, after recognizing that, is we can make a shift to that. We can make a shift to the unconscious image. And when I say image, I mean it might be moving, it might be a movie, it might be color, it might be black and white, it might be really close or far away. All of these aspects indicate how you're actually coding that experience in your mind. And those have a very big impact on how you experience your world. So what I did was I shifted that image. I shifted what it was leading to and shifted it with something of me being confident and like, I've got this, I'm comfortable, I know what I'm doing. And it really completely shifted it for me. I still don't want to be having it all the time or, all of that, but I'm not scared of it. It's not like if I do this, then it's a cascade into depression and it's psych ward and all of that. It doesn't lead to that anymore. So this is something that I honestly need to do with the creation of, podcasts and YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. I need to do the same thing because it's actually the same association that I'm recognizing. I'm associating that same image of me being depressed and, lack of purpose, all of that, with YouTube and with filming podcast episodes. It's got that same association. because I want to take you on this journey with me. So perhaps this is something that I can do right now. So essentially what I would do is think, when I think of podcasting, when I think of creating this content and being on YouTube and all of that, is there an image that comes to mind? The answer is yes, and immediately it's that image of me sitting on that couch, and it's right here. It's very close to me, and it's very big. So that means like I am really focused on that image. When I think of podcasting, boom, that's what comes up. Is that going to help me do the thing? Probably not. That's not going to help me actually hit record and, make the podcast episodes. So what I need to do is look at shifting that image. So let's see. We know what that image is. It's here. It's sepia. It's a little bit sort of black and white. It's kind of gloomy, and it's very big and very close. So that's kind of the key aspects that we need to know. And then, how do I want to feel instead? Is there a time where I felt really confident and comfortable being on a camera? So I'm gonna think of, confidence and actually presenting, being on a camera, and it's actually doing a masterclass. So doing a live masterclass, I feel quite confident with that, and I feel like I've got this, like I can do this, right? So when I think of that, the image that comes to mind is actually, it's a computer screen and it's a whole bunch of faces on the screen, and it's feeling like I know exactly what I'm doing. I've got my slides together, I know what I'm talking about, and I feel really confident. Now, when I think of that image, where is it located? It's somewhere over here. It's upper right, and it's a little bit further away. So what we want to do is actually replace those images. So I always think of it almost like playing a game of pool. You want to like hit one and smack the other one out of the way and embed that. So essentially we want to change that image from being depressed and down and all of that. We want to change that to being confident, capable, I've got this, and it's all good. So first I want to bring that previous image to mind. So that image of sitting there at the couch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually flicker it from black and white and color. So I'm flickering black and white, color, black and white, color, black and white, color. And then I want to add a little bit of like TV static to it. So I'm making it staticky. I'm going to decrease the opacity so it's not quite as clear. Almost like there's some cellophane over the camera, like on the lens. And we're just going to continue to mess around with that a little bit. Are there any sounds associated? Oh, yes, there is. What we want to do is make that really high pitched. Let's make it really strange sounding. So we're distorting what's going on with that image, right? Now, open the eyes, clear the screen. I'm going to think of, something random. This water bottle is really cool to, distract the mind and think about something else for a second. And then I'm going to bring to mind that other image. So, masterclass, feeling confident, feeling, like I've got this. And I'm just going to have a play around with that one as well. I'm going to increase the color, make it a little bit brighter, make it more immersive, add a little bit of a I fucking got this to it, and I want to feel it. I want to add the feeling to it, like confidence, right? And really stepping into that. I've got all of my ducks in a row. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I fucking got this. So essentially we're making this image better, brighter, lighter, anything that we can do to make it more appealing. Done. So now we want to swap them out. So what I'm going to do is close my eyes. I'm going to bring that first image to mind, and I'm going to bring this one from here and just replace it very quickly. Knocking the other one way off into the distance. Open eyes, do it again. Okay. And that one way off till I can barely see it. It's so far away. And then bringing that other one even closer, bringing it right up in front of my face. The image of me feeling confident. It's right there. Lock it in place. Okay, let's try that one more time. So, knocking that one way off, bringing that one closer. So we can't even see the other one. It's just the confidence, it's the clarity, it's the good feelings. And I want to lock that in place. I'm going to ask for that to stay there and for the other one to stay way over there. Lock it in place. Lock it in place. Okay, so now when I think about podcasting and I think about being on YouTube, what comes to mind? Oh, that's an entirely different thing. Confidence, passion, excitement, clarity. Yes, that's what I want. So, this is a process. This is something that I, have learned. It's something that I do with my clients, depending on what they're working on, because it's how we encode that information. So we're actually shifting how that information is encoded. We're saying we don't want that, put it away, and we do want this. Bring it there. Bring it there. So when we think of podcasting, this is what comes up. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Oh, and then in the future, whenever I think of podcasting, what's going to come to mind? I've got this. I've got the structure. I know what I'm doing. I've got clarity. I've got confidence. Let's fucking do it. Boom. Okay. I hope that was interesting for you, like seeing that shift. It's something that I really needed to do, and I thought, why not take the opportunity to do that on the camera? Because that's part of this podcast, is sharing my actual journey and what I'm struggling with and all of that kind of stuff. And I have been struggling with this so freaking much. Like, the procrastination has been intense. So let's see how that shifts now that I've changed that internal representation to something that's going to actually assist me more, which is all about empowerment is understanding how the unconscious mind works, and it is making shifts and adjustments to make it help you on your journey rather than hinder you. And I'll talk about that a bit more in a future episode as well, but this is it. Like, I'm doing this, and I need to work through these challenges that are coming up for me so that I can actually show up for you and I can actually put myself out there in a way that's authentic. And part of that is really being committed to showing my authentic journey throughout this podcast. I don't want to talk like I'm on some kind of freaking pedestal, because I'm not. I don't have everything figured out. No one freaking has everything figured out. And I'm no exception to that. And we often look to other people and think, oh my gosh, they've got it all figured out. They're older, they've got, the job, they know what they're doing, or blah, 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 blah. And the reality is, everyone is figuring it out as they go along. Like, that is a thing. And I'm doing that as well. Absolutely. So we can do that together on this podcast. So that's all from me. I really just wanted to share where I'm at, and this journey of the perfectionism, the procrastination. And someone made a really good comment on a post that I made about this a little while ago, and I've actually put it on a sticky note on my desk here. that says, afraid of letting people down. That's what'll happen if you don't do the podcast. So fucking do it. And I really needed to hear that because I have, historically, I've always had such high expectations of myself. And even, my first YouTube video that I put out there somehow blew up and got millions of views, like over 5 million views. And so from the get-go, being on this platform and, sharing my journey and everything online, this expectation was there of like, oh my gosh, I have to be like exceptional. And that's almost shot me in the foot in a way of believing that, oh my gosh, if I do this, it has to be so good that it's like it goes viral. But that's not actually the case. I don't need to do that. So that's something I've really been sitting with and trying to work through, because it has set the bar high for me. And what I do know is that progress is better than perfection. Done is better than perfect. And if I'm putting something out there, I know that that's always going to be better than nothing. I just need to take action on that. Because if I don't do this, I'm actually letting people down. It's not if I do it and then I waver a little bit or I drop off for a little bit. Who freaking cares? Who cares? I'm still doing the thing. I'm still putting it out there. So that is what I'm coming to terms with. And that is what I am committed to breaking through. And I'm going to just sit down and hit record and freaking go and see what comes out. And hopefully it is something enjoyable. Hopefully it's something that you can learn from and we can grow together. And it'll be a great time. And eventually I will build more confidence. I will build more clarity around the process. And my goal is to just be able to show up and talk and not even have anything prepared and still actually produce something that is going to help people. So, my goal, what I'm struggling with, and I am making this commitment to you right now that I am going to break through this. I am going to do what I need to do to make this happen, because it needs to happen. It absolutely needs to happen. There's no universe in which it doesn't happen. So let's just make it happen. All right. That is all from me for this one. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Trans Boss Podcast. If you support the Trans Boss movement, it would help immensely if you could leave a review on your favorite podcasting app, follow us, and share your biggest takeaway from this episode on social media. Don't forget to tag me at jasmine.vine on Instagram, because I would love to see it. Now get out there, do the things, and take the next step into that empowered life you deserve. See you next time.